All right. So, per the Journal of Clinical Sleep Study, adequate sleep time is at least 7 hours. And if we don't get enough sleep, we don't have the attention span or the focus. We might have some depressed feelings or difficulty processing ideas. Increased weight gain. So I'll get in that a little bit, touched on it a little bit yesterday, and understanding why. Plus, if we are waking up and we don't have as much energy, that can cause stress because we're already like, oh, I'm already low in energy. Oh, let me get the caffeine. Oh, I got such a full day. Oh, I didn't get sleep. It's like you're already starting with stress. And it does increase your chances of getting sick, not getting enough sleep. Did you know that? Increases your chances of getting sick. Yeah. So sleep is so important that the Centers for Disease Control has attributed the lack of good quality sleep to many chronic diseases and conditions such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity, and depression. This was from February 2018. Yeah. So this is the reason why. This is what happens physiologically to us when we're sleeping, especially when we're in that deep sleep. There are different phases of sleep. You might have heard of REM or rapid eye movement. That's one phase of sleep. But we really want to get into a deep sleep, which we can only get about 2 hours optimal, right? Because we go through these phases and stages of sleep. So it takes us a bit of time to get into deep sleep. And then we come back out of it and then we go back in. So we're not in deep sleep the whole time. We're going through these different phases, which is why you might have some dreams, might not have some dreams. Like you might notice there's a difference through your sleep time. You might not, but you might notice. Why? It's because human growth hormone is released during deep sleep. It is helps our bodies to promote fat burning, helps us to build lean muscle mass and maintain the muscle that we have currently. As we age, we can lose muscle mass. Stress and lack of sleep can also prevent us from maintaining what we have, and we can also lose muscle mass from stress and lack of sleep. Human growth hormone, we really want it because it's the counterpoint to cortisol. So if your cortisol is running high, we really want human growth hormone because it's inversely proportional. If we can really capitalize on the human growth hormone, cortisol will slowly start to creep down. Too much cortisol once again causes weight gain, inflammation. This inflammation is the number one driver of dis-ease in the body. Number one driver makes it difficult to lose weight. Once again, human growth hormone and cortisol are inversely proportional. When human growth hormone is high, cortisol is low. But when cortisol is high, human growth hormone is low. So if you're going to bed stressed, chances are you're probably not getting into that deep sleep. We often find that you wake up shortly, either right before you get into deep sleep or shortly after. And there are some really great devices out there. You've got the smartwatches anymore, you've got Fitbits, things like that. They can tell us, Aura rings. If you have the budget to get something like an Aura ring, which will definitely tell you how long you've been in deep sleep. The other devices, they might just tell you if you've been restless, how many times you got up through the night, but they can be a starting point to let you know how is your sleep? How is your sleep? By the way, if you have sleep apnea or if you have any health issues, I actually have a friend of mine who is a nurse practitioner, and she was educating me about, she's like, sleep studies are not just for those who have sleep apnea. Sleep studies are if you have any kind of health issue, specifically a heart issue, things like that. She said, get a sleep study. Because she asked me, because I was having some issues with some palpitations and such. She goes, have you had a sleep study done? I'm like, no, I don't have sleep apnea. She goes, it's not just for sleep apnea. Just wanted to throw that out there for you. And once again, human growth hormone is that anti-aging hormone, which is why all the celebrities out on the West Coast, they get their human growth hormone shots. And it does restore and rebuild your body and muscles from the stresses of the day. So we want to rebuild. If we can just maintain, let's maintain, but we also want to rebuild, restore. We want that lean muscle mass. Protein is king, muscle is king. And you don't need to be bulky. You don't need to be like a weight builder, but it helps us to exchange the fluffy fat when we have the more lean muscle mass. So increase muscle strength. Especially as we get older, our muscle strength decreases, but human growth hormone helps us with that. Better mood and cognitive function. Yeah. Reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease. Heart disease is the number one killer among women. Heart disease. So February, they call it Heart Month, not just because it's Valentine's Day during February, but it's to bring to mind to help women understand, that hey, heart disease is the number one killer among women because not a lot of women know that. Decreased risk of obesity, enhance weight loss, but only if we sleep well. Sleep is essential. So, human growth hormone, once again, in normal healthy people, the major period of its release occurs during the first period of stage 3 sleep during the night. Stage 3 sleep is deep sleep. So, this occurs about an hour after you fall asleep. Once again, your body has to go through the stages of sleep. It doesn't just go automatically in deep sleep, it's like we're going down into deep sleep mode. So, about an hour after you sleep. Deep sleep helps restore. We're our cells rejuvenating, we're restoring, we're repairing, which is why if you don't get enough sleep, it's going to be very difficult to overcome, if you get sick. It's going to just delay your body's repair of that. As much as 75% of it is released during sleep. So we want to get into deep sleep so that we can have more human growth hormone released so that we can counteract the cortisol and we can release weight, get fit and healthy. So lack of good quality sleep makes us crave because we're low on energy and our bodies, based on our past behavior, right? Past actions, your body could potentially be programmed to look for sugar when it's low on energy. Look for the caffeine, low on energy. Hey, I have my cup of coffee, almost every morning. I'm not saying don't caffeinate, but be mindful, of how much you are consuming. So we crave because we're lower in energy. And we want some immediate source of energy, aka through the sugar. So body makes us crave sugar because it thinks your blood sugar is low. And wants you to have that immediate, fastest way to increase energy, increase blood sugar, which is simple sugar, which is the donuts, the pastries, putting it in our coffees, loading them up. So when you don't sleep well, you can actually crave sugar and caffeine. There are a lot of women out there who on the daily go get their coffee, go with their donut or with their pastry or with something more carby, not really good carbs, not going to really help you thrive throughout the day. That was me back in the day, every morning in the drive-through. And every afternoon on the way home from work, why? Because I was so low on energy because I had bad insomnia. So here, let's talk about insomnia, okay? If it takes you too long to fall asleep, if you wake up frequently, if you don't feel refreshed after sleep, if you wake up too early and can't go back to sleep, that's insomnia. Here are some most stress and anxiety is the major culprit. Stress and anxiety. Our brain never ever sleeps. Why? Because it's making sure we're breathing, that our heart's beating, it controls everything else. So, because our brain never sleeps, all the thoughts and all the stress and all the anxiety from the day, boom, can't sleep. Our brain wants to fix and solve. And so we're like tossing and turning. We can't sleep. You might even be dreaming about stress. Pain, especially back pain. How many of you have back pain? I dealt with this about a month ago. My sciatica from my back all the way down to my legs just tweaked my sciatica. So I had about 3 weeks where I had back pain. So I had to sleep a different way for that. Alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant. So you may think, well, why would alcohol cause insomnia? Because alcohol interferes with you getting into that deep sleep. So it's a depressant, but it will prevent you from getting into the stage 3 deep sleep. Digestive problems, GERD. If you have reflux, GERD, it's hard to sleep. can cause issues. If you're frequent urination, the urge to urinate at night can cause some insomnia issues. So how can we sleep? How can we sleep so we can sleep better? Because we want to decrease cortisol, we want to build that muscle, we don't want to create the sugar, right? We want to release weight. How can we sleep? Unwind your mind. Unwind your mind. Okay. Get into bed with a novel or a spiritual book about 30 minutes before bedtime. Now, let me make a caveat on this. The book should not be like a Stephen King thriller. Okay. Anything that's going to make you hyperactive, like, oh my gosh, I got to read another chapter, or oh my gosh, that just scared me. I had one of my best friends in high school. She was a big Stephen King fanatic. I'm like, how can you read that before bedtime? It gives your body an opportunity to wind down slowly. If you have children and you do a bath time when they're babies and toddlers before bedtime, what's your ritual when you do that? We're actually kind of decreasing the stimulation for them before bedtime. Why? Because although you might have, the dads might wind them up by playing before bedtime, but if we can decrease the stimulation before bedtime, they'll fall asleep sooner and they won't be getting in and out of bed, right? So we need the same thing. We need to have a bedtime ritual. I call it a power down hour. No electronics. Okay. I do read some very late fiction before bedtime, but I also have my meditation music on at the same time. Why? Because I'm calming, I'm decompressing. Decompressing. Helps you to fall asleep. Once again, no thrillers or page turners that will keep you awake. No Stephen King books. All right. You can also journal. Sometimes I'll just do what's called a brain dump. Like I'll just put anything that's up here and I'll just put it on paper, no rhyme or reason, just whatever it comes to mind, I'll just write. Sometimes I even write, well, isn't this funny? I'm writing this all down. Because when we get all this out of here and on the paper, our brain can kind of relax a little better, right? And it can also, the next day, if you look at it, you might be able to see if there's any issues or problems, maybe ways to fix it if you look at it the next day. You can write down your thoughts, your feelings, any inspiration. It's a therapeutic way to address what's troubling you. And it keeps your mind from running through the problems when the lights are out. You notice I have cats, so the pictures of these cats. Because my cats sleep hard. Pain can definitely prevent you. Back pain. So if you have back pain, add a pillow under your legs if you sleep on your back, because that puts your back closer to the mattress and it helps support your back when you have a pillow under your legs. You can also put a pillow under your thighs if you sleep on your stomach. I'm not a stomach sleeper, never been, but for those of you who are, you can put a pillow under your thighs to help with any pain. Shoulder pain. Anyone get some shoulder pain? Maybe you play tennis, maybe you got some other sports, maybe it's other activities, right, that you've done. Shoulder pain can be because you're a side sleeper and you're not supporting your shoulder. I am a side sleeper. I like the fetal position. I've always been that way. So I support whatever side I'm on. I kind of have a pillow for this side because it helps support a little bit better. But if you can, don't sleep on your side. If you're only on shoulder, sleep on your side, but sleep on the other side. Okay, sleep on your side. Hug a pillow. So basically, your opposite arm, you're hugging a pillow with this because your body will be more in alignment with that. When I first started to do this, oh my gosh, it was such a difference with my sleep. There are now pillows available for side sleepers because most often it's our neck is out of alignment. And then because our neck is out of alignment, our shoulder gets pulled. So you can have some neck pain and shoulder pain if you're a side sleeper. The pillow cube, oh my gosh, that was a game changer for me because it makes sure my neck and shoulder are in better alignment with that. And when I first got it, I looked at it like it's a little high for me. All right, I'll try it out. I was very skeptical, But I tried the first couple nights, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm actually sleeping better. It didn't look as if it would help, but it did. It's called the pillow cube if you're a side sleeper. So with neck pain, use a firm pillow for neck pain, and also replace your pillow every 2 years because the firmness wears out, right? Replace your pillow every 2 years. I actually have one pillow over 20 years old because it's my migraine pillow. When I was in college, early 20s, I had really bad, severe migraines. And that pillow helped me to keep my neck in alignment. And it had like a more cushion for my head, but my neck is, it was the best, still the best pillow. I've not been able to find a pillow to take its place, which is why I still have it for when I have those bad headaches. It's my pillow that I go to. So there can be a caveat to that. I don't use it every night. It's only if I need to, if I have a bad headache, which is very rare most days. All right, acid reflux. If you have GERD, heartburn, acid reflux, talk to your doctor about medication options first. Okay. Avoid foods that make it worse, like fried and spicy foods before bedtime, especially. Sleep on your left side. There's a reason for that because usually with GERD, like we have little valves in our stomach that actually closes off, right? But when we have GERD, it's a little bit open. I used to have bad GERD. I used to be on tons of medication. I've since no longer have it. Don't even have to take medication now. So I would sleep on my left side. Why? Because it naturally closes that up. So you're not reflexing all night. Elevate your pillow 30 degrees because now we got a little bit more gravity to help when you are elevating your pillow 30 degrees. They actually have these wedge pillows now. Back when I was first diagnosed, they weren't as popular, but Amazon has what's called these wedge pillows that you can literally, it's on an incline for GERD issues. I talked about caffeine yesterday, caffeine as well. Limit caffeine intake after 12 p.m. No, decaf coffee and some teas do have caffeine in it still. I do not recommend decaf coffee or tea because it is a chlorinated, it's a chemical process to take the caffeine out of coffee and tea that are naturally caffeinated. So now you get more toxins and chemicals in your hot water. So I don't advocate for that. But if, I'm always saying use what you have in home. So they do still have some caffeine in it, just not as much as the full force, caffeinated coffee and teas. Caffeine impact lasts up to 12 hours. Did you know that? Yeah. So if you're like, oh my goodness, like I drank coffee at 6 o'clock and I didn't get to bed till like midnight, why can't I sleep? It's not the coffee. Probably is the coffee. Probably is the caffeine. I accidentally like drank some caffeine and I wasn't paying attention to the time and boy was I up one night. I'm like, oh my goodness, I did it. Did caffeine in it. So limit caffeine if you can after 12 p.m. is best. So eliminating caffeine for one day improves sleep quality and duration. Mm. So you can go to herbal teas, right? Any herbal tea is decaf. There's also coffee alternatives. If you are looking to switch out and because you just don't feel the best when you drink coffee, there are some like more herbal alternatives. I have a list here as well. There's also mushroom coffee. Four Sigmata is one of them. It's a mushroom based coffee as well. It's just not on this slide. So there are some options for you if you do choose not to drink coffee. I went off of coffee for about 18 months, and I was one where I had to have 2 cups a day and the dark roast, the really dark roast. Well, I went back to coffee after 18 months. I can no longer do the dark roast coffee, and I can't drink 2 cups during a day. One is my max now. So it was kind of interesting how my taste had changed after being off of it for 18 months. All right, so any questions about sleeping, how to sleep, how to get to sleep, how to sleep better? Very practical um, applications for you. Now, Dr. Laura was in the lineup to speak today. Unfortunately, she had a death in the family. so she couldn't join us. But here's a link to her gift. She has Biohacking Guide for Women. She is a functional medicine provider. So you heard Dr. Angel talk about functional medicine. So if you're looking for answers and your doctor's not giving you answers, sometimes we do need to seek alternative methods. That happened to me about 3 years ago. And I'm like, no one's looking, no one is listening to me. They're looking at me as different organs. Had heart palpitations, arrhythmias, go to cardiologist. My migraines were out of control, go to neurologist. Had my GERD was bad, go to your gastroenterologist, right? I think the only doctor I didn't see was an endocrinologist, but I was going to each specialist. No one looked at my symptoms as a whole, and if they had, they would have had the diagnosis. It took me researching and going to a functional medicine provider. And literally in the office at the same time, we both said, I think it's this. And we were both on the same page. I'm like, absolutely right, because it covered every single one of my symptoms. Well, it's there's a little more to it. Why do you have so much trouble sleeping when not at home? So when you're not at home, you're in a different environment, and your body and your brain are aware of that. I cannot sleep at a hotel. It's very difficult for me to fall asleep at a hotel. I have to have my eye shades. I literally use a t-shirt to cover because I'm used to sleeping in the dark, dark. And also, there's also different noises if you're in a different location, and sometimes your body and brain are very attuned to that. So it's not uncommon to not be able to fall asleep when you're a different location. Yeah, it's very common. It hits me as well, and I just know when I'm traveling, I probably won't fall asleep as fast. But I try to keep everything the same. Like I have to have white noise, so I have a fan on. I have to I'll put a t-shirt over my eyes because I sleep with a sleep mask. Make sure everything's covered. You do the best that you can to make sure it's very similar to how you sleep at home. I even bring my pillow. I've gotten to the point where I just bring my pillow because 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be able to sleep based on their pillow. So great question. Great question. All right, so you got Dr. Laura's. Here is just going to post a lot of links here all in one go. All right, so the links I just posted, action workbook, for the 2 days, you can definitely, you can just do your notebook. Totally cool, whichever works for you. You've got day one, which will have the replays. Okay. Day two, replays are coming later tonight. If you won't have time to watch the replays, you can pick up the VIP access for $47. You'll get lifetime access to everything, plus some extra gifts as well. And then my gift to you is a 20-minute weight loss method. That link will download the file for you. It's actually take you to a web page and you can download it. Also, I'm giving away, it's only during event time. So to later tonight, early tomorrow, I will be closing out the weight loss audits because it's only open during event times and spots are going quickly. It is a free session where I dive deeper into what are your obstacles, what are your struggles, diving to more of the root cause of inconsistency, of if you've released weight and you regain it back multiple times, what's going on there? Sometimes the body is in protector mode. So I give you a 30-day game plan. And then my upcoming events, which is next week, and then I have 2 more in September, which will get you on the best day and time for you. So part of the registration for that is you click the link, read over everything. If you feel like it's a good fit, give me your information, and then it'll take you to a page to schedule your time to chat with either me or someone from my team. Quick 15-minute call, just to go over everything. We have 3 events coming up for that. I keep the registration small, and not everyone who registers are in the events. I'm looking for certain people, so I want to make sure it's a good fit for everyone all around because this is a high quality training that I do for my clients. All right, let me stop recording.